welcome to Out and About with Trev. And today I'm up at Victorian Parliament House. It's the 26th of January 2019. Alright, so today I'm down at Parliament House. It's the 26th of January, and while down the road we've got people celebrating, these people here aren't in such a happy mood. Got Duncan here again. We've run into up a few times at different events, stuff with homelessness and things like that. So what gets you here? What's your focus here today?
Basically any day that upsets half a nation can't be the right day to be having.
No.
I don't see why we have to have an Australia Day. It's a real militaristic, 300-year British load of bullshit. But if we're going to have one, maybe we should think about the referendum where we gave Aboriginals the vote or something more unifying like that.
Well, look, I think there's a lot to celebrate in what we've achieved in the last 231 years, but we probably shouldn't celebrate it on the day that Australia got invaded.
Yeah,
you know, and it's very decisive. These, a lot of people here feel very strongly about it. You've got people down the road who feel strongly about the other argument. I don't understand why we can't just sit down at the table and say, look, why don't we change it? I think signing a federation is January 5, but nobody wants a holiday on January 5.
So. I think it's because people think there's votes in having arguments.
Yep.
Otherwise, we just do it.
Yeah.
I heard the ridiculous argument yesterday on the news. Well, Americans can have their July the 4th, but they also have Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah.
And I've never heard such a ridiculous argument in my life before. That's like saying, here's another kick in the teeth for you. Yeah,
well, their Independence Day is a little bit different because it's, it's just when they signed the paperwork and got away from someone else.
When they got rid of the British.
That's right. But
these people don't have that to celebrate.
No, and the Indigenous population have been trodden on and they've been denied opportunity. They're overrepresented in the homeless community. They're disproportionately represented in terms of incarceration. So it's hardly fair by any means. And I mean, they've had their children stolen and things like that. So
I talk on poverty on a day-to-day basis. The poverty that Aboriginals suffer is based in racism. And because of the privilege of my white skin, I'll never understand what that poverty is.
Yeah.
I understand what poverty is, but I don't understand what it is with we're racist, we're giving you an extra kick while we're at it, sort of thing.
Well, that's the thing about today. I mean, it's a divisive day, and I don't understand why we can't just be smarter about it. Look, and
because votes in being divisive.
And the other thing that annoys me, I would love to be doing a celebrate at a different day, celebrating what we've achieved, waving the Aussie flag, things like that. But I can't because, I can only pick one to go to, and this is the more important one.
There's that many votes in being divisive that Bill Shorten said 2 days ago, Australia Day will never change.
Yeah, never.
So there's an election this year.
Politicians make comments like that all the time, and they never stand the test of time. So.
There's votes in having arguments, and Labor's too gutless to fucking have it.
So what sort of turn-up do you reckon we'll get here today?
What do you reckon last year? 120,000?
Oh, I don't know about that big, but it was many tens of thousands.
It was a lot. The media said, eh?
All right, everyone, we're going to make a start soon. Can I just get everyone to kind of move it? If you're not a speaker, can I just get you to move it? Just give us a bit of space here. It gets overwhelming for some of our speakers, and we've got some elders speaking too, so you'll be able to hear everything that way, because that's where the sound is directed. And also, can Gary Foley come to the back of the truck as well? All right, we're going to make a start. Thank you everyone for coming, but before we make our official start, we need to follow protocol and have official opening and welcome, or not welcome, not sure, by Arweed, Auntie Caroline Briggs, and Auntie Caroline Briggs from Bunwarung, and Auntie Di Kerr from Wurundjeri. So can everyone give them a big round of applause?
She reckons it's age before beauty. So I'm the older and elder, and she's younger and beautiful. So it is about our sharing. I can't see a thing, but it's Womanjika, Merrimbig Big Bunurong, Namda, Barupton, Ata Willem. From our side of the country, we're from the Bunburong. Can you all hear me? Yeah. Good change. So I hope you were all up there at 5 o'clock, 5:30 this morning. No? Okay. We started up at the Domain Garden and came down here. So we've been on a long journey today, and the day's not over, and the years are not over. So it is about when we come together, and that means welcome to our beautiful home. We're giving you permission to be on our country. You are all visitors from many different nations and many different countries and language groups. I don't know how many's here. 150 language groups that are left, saved languages. So when we invite you, we talk about the values of learning, respect, also celebrating that you're all here together to be able to mobilise and start changing these laws. We're about not changing, we can talk about changing dates, but it's about changing the attitudes of our society or our governments that lock us into their framework. So how do we mobilise that? How do we get solutions to bring those changes together? God, they're doubling up on me here. No, he's sorry now. He's miking me up well. So it is about learning. We've been learning since time began. It's been one of the reasons why we are still strong today. Respecting. When we go onto someone else's land, we get permission to be as guests to those custodians of those lands. And when we talk about celebration, it's a celebration of our life where we are today, even though there's many struggles that are ahead of us. But also it's about respecting sacred ground and the land that you now stand. And how do you value that land? How all the benefits that you got from this land and all the generations that our ancestors fought. We haven't been the silent partners in this history. We've been active since the days of impact. We were the first to be impacted down in 1790s, down on the coast. Then 1830s, they mobilised into changing this beautiful, what we now know as Melbourne, after Lord Melbourne. So it's those things we need to look at, educate ourselves, and we've got to celebrate the strength of all these young people that are around us today, because they will be the agents of change. We'll be there helping them along, but it takes all of us united to stand together, to support the generations, and remember, lest we forget, the memories of our war, our soldiers, our agents. So it is about those things that we need to keep moving forward, and one day it will be a Black Australia. Always was, always will be.
I honour my ancestors and my elders, and I pay homage to this sacred ground that we're on. I wish to acknowledge elders that are here and elders of different nations. I acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders here. I acknowledge all guests that are here, all nations, and I pay my respects to your ancestors and families. We're very proud to be here to welcome you today. Today's been a hard day. It's been a very emotional week and an emotional few weeks, It's been very hard to decide whether to come today, but I have because of my ancestors and the strength and resilience that they've given me. We lost 5 young ones in the last couple of weeks and through suicide, and the world has been silent about that. And I want you to think about that, and they're only 12 to 14 years of age. And no one said anything. And it's very sad that this has happened. I also want to pay respect to our stolen generations. They're going through redress, and there's people out there for the stolen generations that are dying. And they're not being heard. And out of the 54 recommendations, there's only been 8 that have been implemented in the last 16 to 18 years. And they are people, and people need to be looked after. Their hearts are breaking We have that many troubles in our community. And I'm sad to say that a lot of things that are happening in our community is breaking our hearts. It's been really sad to see the negativity that's been coming towards us. I'm really saddened by a lot of things that people are saying towards us that shouldn't be said. We shouldn't have to fight for our rights. We shouldn't have to fight to be heard. And I want to thank you all for coming today. People are saying that, you know, today's day is about everybody, but it's not. We need to change, and we need to realise that this was our country, and where we're standing now was where William Barrett set up here and held Parliament. You fellas are rocking us and we're getting scared, eh? Sorry, but we are. It's important that we look towards the future. I want to thank Mariki and all of the young ones that have a voice. And sometimes their voices are misread. But they have a voice, and their voice is loud. We didn't have a voice when we were growing up. And we're very proud of them, all of them, for what they say. And I hope that you listen to them. And I hope that they come more and more together with the elders and listen to them, because the more we work together, the better we are going to have a better future. We're going to have memorable moments. And hopefully, as Nawi said, that this will be our place. So I hope that you enjoy your day. Womanjika, Wurundjeri, Bala, Yemen, Bundibig. Welcome to our beautiful country, Womanjika. Thank you.
Thank you, Awi, Annie Carolyn Briggs and Annie Dykirk. Can everyone give him another round of applause? And when we talk about centering Aboriginal sovereignty, that is exactly what we mean. Do not speak over the voices of the true owners of this land. And in order to fight settler colonialism and reinstate Aboriginal sovereignty, that's what we need to do. It's a basic formula. All right, I'm going to read. Firstly, I'd like to get a few volunteers to help with with Tanya Day's petition. I'll get into that a little bit more, but today we're petitioning and we're calling for the abolition of public drunkenness, that law. Sadly, in 2017, Tanya Day died at the hands of Victoria Police because they locked her up for being for the public and drunkenness law. So I'm looking for some volunteers to help with that petition to diminish the powers of Victoria Police over our lives. So it's really important. But we'll hear more about that later. There are t-shirts for sale. These t-shirts go directly towards the fight for justice for Tanya Day and her family. And there are the Aboriginal flag t-shirts that go towards raising money to war and NAIDOC. Okay, so we're here to fight to ensure a promise to our children living with non-Aboriginal family, communities and care, mostly by illegal, unreasonable forced government, and the 98% that are sexually abused, to our children without connection to their bloodlines, families and communities, to our grandmothers that fight hard for their grandchildren, to the young ones who are thinking about ending their life, to escape the racism and the colonial noose tightened by bystanders on stolen land, escaping the racism that denies us curriculum underpinned by sovereignty for our young warriors of this time. We fight for Tanya, Ray, Wayne and Tommy and the abolition of public drunkenness. We fight for our siblings forced against their will in institutions like psych wards, prison, youth detention centres, and people living in Manus and Nauru and other detention centres holding refugees around this country seeking asylum. We fight for children in the homes, away from their families. Australia, we're here to remind you that there is nothing to celebrate when your country was formed on genocide and ongoing dispossession. Shame! The Australian flag and Australia Day is now thinly veiled white supremacy. And we demand that white supremacy, settler colonialism, homophobia, transphobia, sexism, racism are abolished in all its forms. We're here to remind you that if you do not centre your work and centre Aboriginal sovereignty, that you too are doing the work of the settler colonial state. This is what we mean when we say centre Aboriginal sovereignty. We don't want to be a token part of your projects anymore. We want to lead it based on our communities, our lives and what our people want. We want to fight to abolish Australia Day until we find something to celebrate on peace, on something where everybody is welcome and that's not centred around white supremacy. Thank you. Bill Nickerson for Wurundjeri is going to say something.
Thank you, Mariki, and great to see a magnificent turnout supporting the Aboriginal cause in this country, because we need your support, Mainstream Australia. We've been fighting for 200 plus years. It's tiring. We need support, we need understanding. Educate yourself about this sacred land. There's a lot of unfairness, inequality, bad treatment to us and others that we can't sit by and just let happen. We've got to learn from these mistakes to move into a positive future. I always want Melbourne to remember this special word from the language of this land. Woi Warang is the language. The word is Jindi Warabak. It means join together, unite. In the spirit of reconciliation is a powerful word in the local language. And there's something that cannot happen unless there is respect and understanding from both sides. Now I'd just like to say, Mariki may have mentioned it, but I'm going to add to it. We have never ceded sovereignty. Our sovereignty is our birthright. It's not something we choose, it's something we gain from being the people of this land. Traditional leadership was something gained by the strong character of our leaders. That is why each and every single Aboriginal person, Indigenous, whatever terminology you use, Wurundjeri, Djadjurrung, whatever mob you're from, you wouldn't be here without our strong culture and the way it's set up, our strong leaders, which we call elders, and that's why I'd like to acknowledge each and every one of them from each and every mob represented here today. William Barrack, human rights fighter, one of the first, if not the first, and many followed, is on a building just up there looking down Swanson Street to symbolise looking down at our sacred river, the Birrarung, not the Yarra, the River of Mists. William is a great role model for anyone who'd like to study him, just like the many elders of our past. And Simon Wonga would like to acknowledge. Wonga was our first land rights advocate. He didn't muck around with native title and all that lawyer crap. He went straight, government, give us land, it's our land, it's the only way we can survive. Corrandirt Mission was a great success for many, many decades until policies destroyed it. And policies have been destroying our mob ever since. For those that don't know, January 26 ain't something new to us. It's about 230 years we've been dealing with it, but we've been officially protesting it since the 30s, since the elders resisted that date and the symbolism behind it. Funnily enough, being a high point here on country, this is where our elders used to meet to talk about much business. Now the white fella put a big building there and call it their meeting place. Look, you fellas have a great day. Let's tell this country what we think about the past, how we want to move into the future. I want to welcome you all here, but you can't be welcome unless you respect people, country and law. If you do, we say Wurminjika, welcome, Gabamala Mungal and greetings, Wurundjeri, Biik Wurundjeri country. So, yeah, great to see us all. And Jinny Warraback, fight together.
Thanks, Bill. Next I'd like to invite March Thorpe and Lydia Thorpe to share a few words. They're long members of the Aboriginal community in Melbourne and will also help set the scene as to what's happening here for our people.
I'd like to pay my respects and acknowledge the people of the land that we stand on. And I respect and acknowledge their struggle for survival. They, like the rest of the people in Victoria, have survived genocide. And genocide is what's been happening since Australia was formed, when the British flag was put into this land. There has been a concentrated effort to erase the First Peoples of this country. But as you can see, we have survived. And it's not been easy. As we can see right now, 230 years on, generations of our people have to stand up here every day and say what is wrong with this country. And not just us, but new visitors who from other lands who are coming to this country who aren't white Anglo-Saxons are feeling the same effects because of the colour of their skin or what they believe in. It's about time this country matured as a nation. And I just seen a placard over here, don't change the date, change the nation. What we need here in this country is a proper treaty, not a dodgy deal that this state government wants to do with a few chosen blackfellas who are selling us out, because unless you go back
and talk to whose people and whose land you are talking about, it's a scam. So this house up here has to stop scamming the people. We have enough of people being incarcerated. Deaths in custody was a royal commission that happened nearly 30 years ago. You have to get the government to implement the recommendations from that report. They also have to implement the recommendations from the inquiry into the removal of Aboriginal children instead of the bullshit that they're ongoing and they're providing jobs for their bureaucrats. I live in East Gippsland, and what we're worried about there right now is not only the state of the status of our people in Gunai country, we're also worried about the country that they're also destroying hand over foot for a measly dollar. They're destroying our forests, they're destroying our water, and they're destroying the air. We know how to fix that, and until they start listening to us, we're all at risk here. Thanks very much, everyone, for coming.
I too pay my respects to the stolen land that we're standing on and the people of the Wurundjeri and the Bunwurrung people. I also pay my respects to my matriarch, my mother Marjorie, and my younger sisters who are part of the warriors of the Aboriginal resistance. I've been born into a political family, and I'm so honoured to be part of the oldest living culture in the world. It's a shame the rest of this country doesn't feel like that. It's a shame that this country continues to party on our people's graves. We held a dawn service at 5:30 a.m. this morning at a known burial site where there are 38 First People buried down the road from the Shrine of Remembrance. When I got there, all that I could see at that memorial place was broken beer bottles smashed all over that rock on our people's graves. And today is where the Australia Day parade will finish and party right at that same place that our people are buried. Now, if this country has any conscience, it'll start a healing process that starts with truth-telling. We are sick of the pain, we're sick of the loss, we're sick of the hurt. Every single day. You fellas come out one day of the year, which is fantastic. But we feel this every day. And we need you every day. So everything that you hear today and the placards you see around, that is your call to action. So it is upon you from today to decide whether you want to come out once a year and protest, or you act every single day to change what this country is about. Don't fall into the far right that are going to be out there trouble. We're peaceful people. And we don't need any trouble. We are here for our warriors and our ancestors, and we have to respect that. Thank you.
Next I want to invite to have a talk is Viv Marlow, Goonyandi woman, but also one of this city's strongest, staunchest activists that we've ever seen, organiser, community member, radio show host.
Wow, it's been overwhelming to be here today. I'll try not to. Because I can see these pictures. I see these pictures of our countrymen who've been murdered. And one recently, sister girl, just murdered. You don't see anything on the news. That's just one. Justice. I'm here for justice. I'm here for truth. We're tired of the lies. Liar narrative. I'll tell you something about your first fleet, January 26. These poor people were in chains. They were suffering. We pitied them. They already enslaved their own people before they got here. No wonder they can't remember. They've been enslaved so long. So I want to remind them, what are you defending? Or what are they trying to protect? In this Australia, I love this country. And I know people on the other side will claim the same. I've got a problem with your governments. I've got a problem with the assumed authorities. I've got a question about jurisdiction. And I've got a question about a fundamental international human rights law on genocide. 70 years since this law was founded, December the 9th, Human Rights Day just passed. 70 years, but this country don't have law against genocide. How can anyone else expect rights when the first people have been treated the way we have from the get-go? That's what I wonder, yet they stand up and claim otherwise. There's apologies and there's this feigned benevolence. It's lies. Our situation is getting worse. Incarcerations are 100% in the Northern Territory. And I don't have to tell non-Indigenous people what the governments do to screw you, do I? So it's time to take it back. For the people, by the people, and put it on them. Where's your genocide law against genocide? Two-faced hypocrites and Pharisees, that's what I call you.
Nayukagori, Gunnar, Gunditjmara, Yorta Yorta, Wiradjuri. Deadly, staunch community member, but a very outspoken person on a lot of our issues here in this country. I just want to welcome them to the stage to say a few words today. Actually, before that, can I just have the media take 5 steps back? And I want everybody with the Ishta Deaths in Custody placards to come and stand here. Today it's about them. These placards will be leading the march. Uncle Ray.
Unlike occupation in this country, I'll keep it short and sweet. I'd like to acknowledge the land we are on and the owners of the land that we are on. I'd like to acknowledge all of the suffering and trauma all of our people have gone through. I'd like to acknowledge that despite our grief, we are still here. I'd also like to acknowledge warriors of the Aboriginal resistance who, despite this grief, organised today. Today is a day of mourning and it is a day of resistance. Colonisation is alive and well, and it is evident in our deaths in custody when we are murdered by cops, our suicide rates, and our life expectancies. It is in the misogyny and violence our women experience. It is in the assimilation we experience through the education system. We have black families where every single generation has been stolen by the government and disrupted. Colonisation has never ever ended, and we did not consent to this mess. We have a Prime Minister who wants to divide us. He wants to erode whatever little we do have. We have a Premier who calls himself progressive but sets a small army of cops onto us when we are peacefully mourning today. We can't afford to get complacent and we can't afford to accept symbolism. We must not accept progress on colonisers' terms. Lately, there have been calls to change the date. I want to say that there is no date appropriate to celebrate genocide. There is no date to celebrate land theft. We must go beyond black people being coerced to love our captors. Despite all that black people face, we are still here fighting. I see a strong, united crowd who will not let themselves be sold lies. I see disabled people, black people and people of colour, people of all faiths, refugees, queer people, trans peoples and workers. I see powerful black people, elders and young people who have travelled far and wide to do what we've always done, which is resist and fight and grieve however we can. We must carry this resistance and fight every single day of the year because every day is Invasion Day. Colonisation and assimilation work hard, but we have to work harder. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mandy Nicholson, Wurundjeri woman and founder of the Jiri Jiri dance group. She's also very strong in reviving and keeping strong and alive the Wurundjeri language. Before I invite her to speak, I just want to get everyone to pull out your phones. I want you to tweet, post something about Invasion Day. Let's not just take over the streets of Melbourne. Let's remind everyone on social media, everyone and everywhere, that we're here, we're in the majority. This is the biggest event in this country today.
Peladunyan wangat naranik Mandy, Wurundjeri Willamik Wurundjeri Balakut, Mundanai Murup Kalara Pirang, Pa Kirapik Bulok, Pa Liwik Bulok Nugulik, Pa Lalal Pa Gugong Nugulik, Pa Jaja Burang, Pa Nirail Murang. My name is Mandy Nicholson. I'm a Wurundjeri Willam woman, and we're standing right in the middle of Naarm. And that's the name for Melbourne, and it means scrubland. And we've got a creation story that is linked to the flooding of the now Port Phillip Bay, which was called, or was, or is still called Naarm Naarm, which means much scrubland. So we're in a really significant place here. I don't see any of the buildings. When I look at the buildings, I can't even see them. I look straight through them because there's 6 layers of Wurundjeri country. There's the below country, the Bikut, That's where we get the ochre to decorate our bodies for ceremony and dance. Then there's the Big Dewey. It's where we walk and where we dance and where we do our ceremonies. Then you've got the Barnyabik, which is a water country. We use water to stay alive. Today we need to drink it because it's hot, but we use it as part of our welcoming ceremony. Guests drink water from a tanuk, a wooden bowl, to signify that you're safe on country. Then we've got the Wurrubik, the wind country. The smoke from the welcoming fires emanates and touches everything. Wind touches everything, language touches everything. Then you've got Tarangokbik, Bunjil's home above the clouds. Literally means forest country above the clouds. So I'm going to get you all to speak in my language. We're going to sing together. Don't feel shame. It's one word and it's a beautiful, easy tune, and I'd like to acknowledge Lou Bennett for helping us create this beautiful tune. And I want you to practice this word. Say ngolo, nganyen. So if you say the word onion, have the NG at the start and then you've nailed the word. Nganyen. So now say ngolo nganyen. Now we're going to sing together. Ngolo nganyen. 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 One more time. Arms up. Ngolo nganyen. 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 Now you just said in my language everyone's voice, and I think we just heard it. Yung gojo. All right, everyone. We're going to get going. We're going to get moving.
Crowds, they've commandeered the intersection of Flinders Street and Swanston Street for probably over an hour now, and they're just about to, they're sort of making, they're going to make their way up to Treasury Gardens. We've got Lydia Thorpe here. How do you think today's march was? It was good turnout.
Yeah, it was powerful.